Let me thank Husker for introducing me, even though very briefly, and saying that you will slowly find out who I am. I hope you will. Also thank MES Mambad College, uh, the coordinators of the postgraduate student induction program, Principal Mr. Anas E, and the rest of everyone who've been with me for the last couple of years over there. Thank you. And I would like to greet every one of you who are stepping into the PG waters today at MES Mambad College. In fact, you may have stepped into the waters yesterday itself. Professor Prabhash spoke to you, I understand, and the rest of the office bearers of the college, authorities of the college. I'm sure they have spoken to you. And those who have already done their UG program at MES Mambad College would be more familiar with the environment, the people over there, the experience they have gone through. And I'm sure that when we are all out of this COVID isolation, we would meet each other and we would gather more from one another. As Husker pointed out, this is going to be a session in which I would talk a bit, and I would expect you to key in some of your comments, questions, feels, apprehensions, so that we can make it more interactive and enjoyable at the end. I do not have a very precise kind of a lecture to give you. Rather than lecturing to you, I'd be giving a rambling talk in which I would air some of my concerns regarding how we come of age and how colleges and institutions of higher education help us come of age, if they do, and what are the expectations when we come of age, and what are the challenges that face us in the community into which we would be pushed completing your post-graduation. And much of what I have listed so far as part of my agenda are nothing new. We talk about it always. People talk about it. Academicians talk about it. I'm trying to give a new twist. I'm trying to tweak it in a different way and make you aware of what could be certain ways in which we can come of age. True to our habits, many of you might have Googled and looked up for the meaning of the expression come of age. And some of you have already formed an idea regarding what is meant by come of age. How do people come of age, and how have great people come of age? You even may have your kind of feelings about what is it this man is going to talk about today? What kind of a coming of age is he going to talk about? Come of age, as you may have found out, is an expression which means to become an adult, to become mature in a sense. The dictionary will also speak about it as an expression in which you move away from the innocence of kind of adolescence. You move away from the fun of the adolescence and you step into the difficult waters of maturity. Some others may have, certain other websites may have spoken about coming of age as a process in which the community will celebrate when you attain your puberty and you become physically an adult. But if you take a functional meaning with which we would try to operate without making it too complicated, without making it too confined to something intellectual or academic, we would say that when you come of age, you become mature. When you come of age, you become an adult. In a sense, true. When you come of age, you become mature, but I'm not sure whether the physical becoming of an adult and coming of age can be equated with each other. There are people who are into their 30s, 40s, and 50s and who have not yet come of age, to be honest, who are yet to wake up, who are yet to act and talk sensible to us, who do not know what their life is all about, who are unaware of the missions of their existence, who haven't constructively contributed to the lives around them. Hence, I wouldn't risk my credibility and tell you that when you become 18, when you cross 20, you come of age. No. Physically, probably you do. You grow into an adult. Emotionally, you may not. Intellectually, you may not. This is a problem when we take the literal sense too seriously. I cannot tell you that I came of age when I joined for PG. If you're connecting the significance of this occasion, all those students who have joined MES Mambad College for post-graduation are going through the student interaction experience. And this man, me, have come down to talk to you about coming of age. So it's quite possible that you will go for a very serious guess. And you will say that, okay, so joining for PG is coming of age. Probably, but not always. I didn't come of age when I joined for PG. I think I took more time. So joining for a postgraduate program doesn't guarantee that you will come of age and certainly you will start speaking wisdom as if you were hit by an apple on your head or as if woken up in the middle of the night by the aha moment, you will get out and start walking like a Buddha. Not necessarily. But what I'm trying to drive home is the complexity of coming of age and how you have to emotionally and intellectually navigate, emotionally and intellectually pass through the different stages of that complex process. And also, like, how will the world know that you have come of age? Coming of age is a very evocative expression in English language. And when I thought more about it, after telling Mr. Anas that I'll talk about coming of age to the fresh admissions of the PG programs of MES Mumbai College, I began to savor the expression. I began to taste the expression. I had a close look at that three-worded expression, coming of age. And suddenly I started thinking of age coming to you. And I asked myself, is it also me going to the age, or is it the age coming? So whether it is you going to the age or age coming to you, and whatever be the implications of the word age over there, we were talking about certain Rubicons you will cross, certain stages you will pass, and you would reach a particular mental position from which you will be capable of knowing who you are and start behaving like a responsible citizen of the country, like a responsible member of a family. This is what happens in coming of age. So the evocativeness of that expression, a come of age, in which age comes to you. There's an interesting saying about future, It says that the problem with future is that future arrives when you are not ready. It implies that you may never know that the future has arrived. Only after future has arrived and future has put its hands around your shoulders and been walking around for some time, you would maybe after a couple of years, after a couple of months probably, you would take a look sideways and realize that I've been walking with future. I have arrived. So coming of age is similar to the expression arrive. When you say that Virat Kohli has arrived, watching a brilliant early performance of Virat Kohli with bat, you mean that the man has finally delivered one of his signature performances, and he has shouted to the world that I'm around. Start watching me. Start taking me seriously. All right. So I like the tone, the complexion, the feel of the expression come of age. When you come of age, you reach that stage of your age. It could be age which you count with calendars, but it can also be emotional maturity inside you. When you come of age, you become emotionally mature, intellectually capable. This is what happens to you in a coming of age stage. And this is what I wanted to talk to you about. One of my favorite players is actually Roger Federer from tennis. I do not know whether a former principal of Mumbai College can love tennis more than football. We are a football crazy campus, football popular campus. If you walk around in the other parts of the state and say, simply drop the word Mumbai, they would ask you about the football team first. Everything else is secondary. Okay. I love Roger Federer. I love the man. I love his game. I love his tenacity. I love his openness. And I love the way he cries after winning a trophy. I love the way he says that I have won it, but I don't know how I have done it. Roger Federer was a world tennis junior champion, right? And he has started winning prizes at 11 or something, at the age of 11 or something. At a very young age, he has started playing tennis. And everybody expected him to be the new find, the new wonder kid in tennis field. But after the initial foray, initial performances of stunning kind, he never really delivered what people expected him to deliver. There were those people who compared Roger Federer to Boris Becker, the German boy who came unseated into Wimbledon and walked away with the Wimbledon trophy, surprising and pleasing everyone. Boris Becker. Roger Federer was not performing that way. He was taking his time to bloom. He was taking his time to mature. I think it was in 2001 Wimbledon where he ran into Pete Sampras, the then number one, the unquestioned, unchallenged bows of tennis in those days, who has won 7 or 8 ATP tournaments and Wimbledon. He ran into Roger Federer, and Roger Federer played him maybe in a quarterfinal or something. And it was the first match Roger Federer was playing in the center court of Wimbledon. He has never won a match there. He hasn't even played a match over there. But in a thrilling 5-set match, he defeated Pete Sampras, and he announced his arrival to everyone. He was surprised. He was in tears. He was kind of shocked with what he has done. And the media declared the arrival of Roger Federer, saying that one of the significant articles written about it said, Roger Federer comes of age. Roger Federer declares to the world that I'm around. Watch me. I'm going to deliver now. Federer is still playing tennis, right? Even though he took his first trophy quite late. In the early 20s, he started delivering. He has been a crowd favorite. Before he got serious, Federer had a number of problems. One, he was very emotional. He will shout on the court. He will scream at the audience. He would throw his racket away. So there was so much of emotional expressions over there, letting the pressure out in the form of these activities. He was such a brilliant kid, but often what happened to us, he played wonderfully at the beginning of a match, but towards the end, he couldn't sustain his performance. Or he played very well at the beginning of the tournament, but towards the end stages of the tournament, moved to the quarterfinals, semifinals, he couldn't deliver himself. He couldn't even physically sustain. Even his stamina was an issue over there. He couldn't last physically. So his coach spoke to him and said that he need to work on it, right? And coach said that sometimes he took Roger Federer for a drive, took him to the beach where he can run around, he can drive, he can scream, he can shout, so that much of those emotions will be spent in some other way. And in the court, he would be focusing on his game. This was a transition from an emotionally combustible, emotionally explosive Roger Federer into a man who after that went for a makeover. He had a headband, he had a ponytail, and he looked more quiet, composed on court. And he started delivering. I told you about the story of the coming of age of Roger Federer because it was a transition from an emotional kid who was struggling to find his rhythm in the court, who was struggling to sustain his performance in the tennis court, and from there he rose to one of the unchallenged masters of the world tennis, world's greatest, or one of the greatest, they call him today. And Federer himself has spoken about his coming of age, the transition he had from an emotionally turbulent, inconsistent, shouting, screaming, abusing kind of a youngster into a master tennis player. This is also an example of coming of age. See, that expression "come of age" combined, it reflects a sort of mutuality, an individual and an age coming face to face with each other. An individual, someone like you who are listening to me, have done your schooling, done your higher secondary, done your graduation, and after 15 years of education, counting in Montessori or kindergarten, 17 years of education, now you are stepping into post-graduation. You must be on the brink of coming of age, or people expect you to be on the brink of coming of age, I'm sure. So each one of you are listening to me. You're leaving behind a past of a different kind. You are leaving it behind and stepping into an age in which you need to seriously look at yourself and be sure about where you are heading, which direction you're moving in, right? So this is about coming of age, is about being yourself and becoming yourself. Don't get me wrong. When I talk about coming of age, when I talk about becoming an adult, an emotionally mature person, we are never asking you people to become somebody else. This is where the problem lies. We are telling you to be yourself, your true self. We are prompting you to find out the true selves for yourself, who you are really. There would be lots of signboards on the emotional highway. Lots of boards which try to give you direction to turn left or right, to go straight, kind of thing. But you are the one who would decide whether to stop or to turn in one way or in another direction. So this is about becoming yourself, becoming someone you didn't know you were, right? Finding the truth inside, finding the truth inside you. See, I also like music. I listen to music, right? I did dabble into a little bit of musical instruments long back. And just like many of you, or probably like all of you, I like A.R. Rahman's music too. Again, another wonder kid who stepped onto the world with Roja, right? There is an official biography, I forgot the title of that, of A.R. Rahman, in which he talks about himself. He says that till he was 25 or 28 or something, he continuously thought about suicide. Almost every day, he says, after the death of his father, he thought of suicide. He wanted to commit suicide, he wanted to kill himself. There was something so disturbing, so troubling in the day-to-day experiences of A.R. Rahman. He hated his former name, which was Dilip Kumar, right? It was Dilip Kumar who turned to A.R. Rahman after the family embraced Sufism, right? And he speaks about establishing a studio over there, right? Establishing a studio and he started working with the studio from home. And he says that's when he began to find his moorings. That's when he began to get back into the groove. He was falling into to the rhythm, and he began performing. He started being at peace with himself. He knew who he was. And this is the watershed moment that he speaks about when he looks back on the life of the past. The moment when he realized that he's okay with himself. They said he's at peace with himself and the surrounding. And A.R. Rahman, the legendary music composer, uh, started working with his music and giving peace and happiness to a lot of us. So when did actually A.R. Rahman come of age? You can't exactly pinpoint a time or a moment or a day and say that people come of age at 10:30 on January 24th of this year. Not possible. It's a slow process, I know that. But there are certain significant emotional milestones, certain experiences, which when you look back upon it, you realize that which woke you up and suddenly you started looking at yourself and the world in a different way. And this is what the post graduation should make you capable of coming of age in that fashion. And when I speak of coming of age, I'm basically also speaking about academic and emotional maturity. Emotional maturity is very important. You have gone through a tempestuous degree life in your campus, whichever campus you have had. You may have had a lot of fun in the campus. You have involved in lots of this and that. Much of which, when you look back, you may enjoy, even though you may not be sure how far those experiences have contributed to the making of the real you. Some of us look back at the college experience and we feel embarrassed about it. Some of us look back with nostalgia and we are really glad about it, whatever happened, right? But some of us try to look back and try to pick lessons out of it and say that these are probably the experiences, the events, the people who contributed to the making of the me now today. Academically, you come of age when you seriously determine your priorities of study, your priorities of education, probably your priorities of research, your priorities of career. This is how you come of age academically. No one actually walks into a postgraduate program just like that. No one walks into or joins, registers for a PG program just to see what zoology is like, just to sound out and know what Arabic is like. No, you don't do that. Probably you might have accidentally walked into a graduate program, a BA, BSc, BCom kind of thing, a BWOC kind of thing. But you don't walk into a PG program to know what history is like or to understand what food technology is like. Because this is the next level of specialization. This is when you need to decide who you are and what are those micro career tracks you are going to focus on. The specializations within specialization, the specialization within that, I would say, because you have come to food technology, maybe you have come to nutrition, or you have come to food safety. So within a what is it, realm called food security, we can try to think of something which is further narrow and on which you would be interested. Which you would be interested. This is what you do academically. So if you have taken, for example, MCOM, you need to know which is the one paper you're going to focus on. which is a one career you're going to look forward to. And you need to have an explanation why you are doing it. Don't be a teacher because your father was a teacher. Forget it. You are not your father, right? Don't try to be a bank manager because your mother was one or your neighbor is one. You are not your mother. You are not your neighbor, right? Those are not the kind of academic coming of age I'm speaking about. If someone is asking you, what would you like to be? What is it you're going to do after your postgraduate program? You need to have a solid, understandable, rationale explanation to provide to them. What are you going to do and why you're going to do that? That calls for intellectual, what I call as intellectual boldness. When you postgraduate out of MES Lombard College, what I would expect from you, I do not know what others expect from you. What I would expect from you, this kind of an openness regarding who you would like to be, and being bold enough to say that. Boldness, intellectual openness and boldness is facing the threat of extinction in India today. And we need to do something about it. We need to shape up the generation like you who are occasionally excessively tuned towards a particular career. You should be made aware of the fact that becoming a postgraduate is becoming someone who is intelligent enough, intellectually bold enough to talk of your choices, to air your convictions, to let the world know that this is what I think about what's happening. This is what I think about CAA. This is what I think about online teaching. This is what I think about COVID social distancing. This is what I think about the new national education policy. This is the kind of boldness you should be capable of after you complete your post-graduation from any college. Intellectual boldness is disappearing very fast, and we should be very sad about it. If you have done, as I said, 17 years of schooling, education so far, what is that schooling, what has that education done to you? If you're not capable of being bold enough to say, this is what I stand for, this is what I represent, these are my preferences are, this is a policy I support and this is what I object, then why should you take to a career of one kind or another? So as a postgraduate, you have to intellectually come of age. You have to intellectually mature. It's immaterial whether we talk about commerce or Arabic or food tech or economics or English or whatsoever. Such silos, such compartmentalizations come next. We're talking about a postgraduate. A postgraduate should be academically bold, should be intellectually vibrant, and a postgraduate should be capable of speaking his or her mind. This is what is more relevant. This is why I say that to be intellectually bold, you have to personalize a perspective. When Outlook magazine, I hope you know that there is a magazine called Outlook, which is a very good one. When Outlook magazine came out, once they had a campaign, an advertisement campaign, and the tagline of that advertisement campaign ran like this: Outlook, period, full stop, have one. It's a beautiful caption which said, Outlook, have one. Simultaneously, it told you that you should have an outlook, a perspective of your own. and you should buy an Outlook magazine. I exhort you to personalize a perspective, and when I do that, I'm also exhorting you to have an outlook. Being a perspective on things is very important. Everything around you. It must be about starting off new school somewhere. It must be about the street vendors you find all around you thanks to COVID. It can be about, what is it, smuggling gold, whichever channel it is. It may be about what Parvati Tilvot is telling you regarding what is happening in cinema, possibly, whatever. You need to have a perspective. Whether you learn, whether you master economics or master history, master food technology, master mass communication, whatever, you need to master the perceptions around, and you should become a master of yourself, having thoughts you're clear about, having a perspective you can share with other people. This is what I mean by mastery. An MA in economics means a master of economics. When you master economics, or when you master, as I said, Islamic history, you are also mastering how to perceive the world. So you should personalize a perspective. You should be capable of knowing who you are and what you stand for. This is one of the fundamental goals of higher education. This is why we have shaped you up all the way, starting from kindergarten up to post-graduation. They say from KG to PG, that's what they say. If end of the day you are not capable of doing that, what is post-graduation all about? Okay, so you pick your academic passions. You specialize in microeconomics if you want. You specialize in banking. You specialize in online accounting if you want. You need to have specializations without which you cannot flourish. But whatever you specialize on, your prime specialization should be on being a responsible human being. Specialize on that first. That certifies your intellect. That certifies your capabilities to take on any career you dream of, you desire in the future, right? So coming of age for me is about becoming intellectually bold and emotionally balanced. Apart from the other academic experiences you may go through at MES Mumbai College or for any college for that matter, you should become emotionally balanced and intellectually bold enough to have an outlook, to have a perspective, and to stay continuously according to those perspectives. Perspectives are subject to change. Often it could be modified, possible. If you have a justifiable reason for that, that too can happen. And this often happens not exactly in the PG program. I know that. For much of the people in our generation, you don't get a job immediately after post-graduation. We do post-graduation, then maybe we'll go to parallel colleges and teach some of us. We'll fool around here and there. So after the post-graduation and before the job, there's an age of drifting, an age in which we are adrift. We are adrift. We float around. We meet a lot of people, right? We come across lots of experiences. You win some, you lose some, right? You fight here, probably you win over there. And before your compromise with society begins, you are put into a melting pot of experience of multiple kinds, right? And those experiences which come post-graduation, those experiences significantly contribute to that coming of age. Those are the experiences where you run into to the age we are talking about. You age yourself when you gather year after year. When you celebrate more birthdays, you age further and further, and each birthday celebration is a celebration of becoming old, in a sense. And then you are also meeting more age around you. So after the debrief, you get into a career. And that's what I would like to speak about towards the end. What is actually a career? There is so much talk about career these days, so much training given about career, so much career enhancement programs, all right? Last mile training programs, career integrated academic programs, so on and so forth. Plenty of them. But so much of them probably someone like me from my kind of a generation feel a bit sick about it. Saying that you are you're trying to shape the students too much sometimes. After having so much of careers around us, why are we in such a mess? For example, in India. When Jeevan Job Thomas came to MES Mambad College under the auspices of a program organized by Department of Physics. In fact, I raised this question, I think. I asked him, when you have so many intellectuals around, so many scientists around, and you also have thought leaders, cultural leaders, writers, philosophers, writer philosophers, philosopher politicians, so on and so forth, on the other hand, why do we have less of the scientists talking about what's happening around the country? Why are they not raising their voices? When the representation of a certain section of community, certain bunch of citizens are at stake, why are they not talking about it? When so much downright stupidity is spoken in the name of science, why are the scientists about it? Since so much nonsense is spoken in the name of economics, why are the so-called economics, why are they not openly coming out to attack such misdirected populist exercises? So what do you mean by a career? You can go for a career, you should never become a careerist. A careerist is one who focuses too much on the career and does everything necessary for the promotion at the right time, all right? Always an eye on the next vacancy somewhere, next slot somewhere, pulling strings here, all right? Kissing feet somewhere else, rubbing the bottom somewhere else, so that you can get to a good chair, a better chair. That would make a careerist. Don't be a careerist. Be a human being first. And then you can be somebody who does a job in zoology or in English or whatsoever. So when you go for a career, we are not looking for someone who is a brilliant economist, but who doesn't know what's happening in the country. A brilliant zoologist, but who is not interested in sustainable development goals. A brilliant English literature postgraduate who would preach feminism but who wouldn't practice it. So when you look at career in that sense, we have to be apologetic about what we do. So my dear postgraduates, when you think of a career, you think of the human responsibilities of that career. Intellectual responsibilities which are rooted in humanism, not always in only economics as a silo, English as a separate uh, branch. No, we are not talking about stand-alone, compartmentalized silos there. We want the humanity to surface. If you don't care for the one around you, then what is the use in talking about whether it is food technology or mathematics or chemistry whatsoever? You should know the chemistry of humanity at the bottom. If you don't know that, you cannot have a career out of chemistry. That would make you someone who is always looking for the rising career graph, rising salary graph, better perks, better facilities, so on and so forth, right? So we need people in career who will be bold enough, even when you are in career, not being comfortable enough the chair which you occupy, not interested in challenging stupid assumptions floated around you, not interested in disagreeing with what people tell you in the name of politics or religion or bogus nationalism, whatever. Be bold to know what is right and what is wrong. Not only to know what is right and wrong, but also to say that the right is right and the wrong is wrong kind of thing. That also is a kind of coming of age. Right. So it doesn't matter in which subject you are going to postgraduate in. For me, I would like you to come of age with a sense of communitarian togetherness. Come of age in the art of plain speaking sometimes. Are you familiar with the expression truth speak? Speak truth to power. Speaking truth to power. We need economists who will speak truth to power. We need Arabic postgraduates who will speak truth to power. You need zoology research scholars who will speak truth to power. We need commerce postgrads who will speak truth to power. Speaking truth to power is telling truth as it is to those in power, those who occupy power. And this is what we require. That's the kind of people we look forward to. And if we have softened, corporatized, couch potato like careers. We do not want such career focused postgraduates who are good only for the career and who are not good for the society. And if that's what's going to happen to you, you are not coming of age intellectually. You are not. That's what you should think about, right? Yours is a generation which they call the early part of the generation we call the millennials in a way, comfortable with mobile phone. They say you are self-focused always. They say that you're connected with your kind of people. They say you have the choice and you can always enjoy your choice. In our time, in the past, when we turned on the Doordarshan or All India Radio, we get the songs they give us. We didn't have a Spotify which will filter and give us our kind of a listening list. But you have your strengths. And whatever strengths you have, maybe the strength of connectedness, the strength of digitality, right? The strength of social media. This is something you have to employ to help those areas come of age. You should help the social media come of age. You should help the Spotify and Instagram come of age. And if the community perceptions are built with what happens in social media, what's on Instagram, what's on the Twitter, Okay, what's on WhatsApp? You are the kind of people who should help all these platforms come of age. And if society is made up of layers of such media today, the moment you help them come of age, you would help the world uh, come of age. This is what we expect from your side. So, without touching on the academics, I would openly say that we are looking forward to a bunch of postgraduates who would be exercising their intellectual freedom, their emotional serenity, so that we can enjoy your arrival when you arrive on the stage of the world armed with your post graduation. This is what we expect. I'm afraid I've taken longer than I should take. If there are any comments, a couple of comments, because Dr. Anoop will be waiting to come over at 10:30. Any couple of comments you would feel like, any questions you have, we can take a couple of them, right? And if there's nothing coming my way, I would like to congratulate every one of you who have joined in Islamabad College. It's a wonderful rural campus which is very vibrant and dynamic. I'm sure you would enjoy your presence over there. And I'm sure you all would grow up to the kind of people on whom the future of our community, the future of the society, by extension, the future of the world would depend. We need the like of you to fight fascism. We need the like of you to fight threats to our ecology. We need the like of you to fight emotionally combustible politics around us. You are the people who can make it possible in the future. So, uh, thank you everyone for listening to me, and thank you, Islamabad College, for being with me. I have some time. If you have any questions, feel free to key in if you have any suggestions or questions, and definitely disagreements of any kind.